Yo, it's the Drop Night Show, and you know we back. It's your man Sean Beasley. We are back on Water Ice Radio, and I got my fam here. What up, K Wonder? What up, Jay Qualified?
Yo, what's going on with you?
Blah, blah, blah.
You on your gang-ish today?
What up, son? Know what I mean? It's the Drop Night Show. What's really popping?
Yo, for the past 2 days, I and Jay Qualified, we got some exclusive interviews coming up on Water Ice Radio. One being Sean Barron. He's the Vice President of Urban A&R for Atlantic Records. And we booked an interview of crazy artist from Philadelphia. His name is Tunji.
Tunji. Oh,
he's
is that the guy that sings "Send Me Your Location"?
He is the producer of "Send Me" by Khalid, and he's nominated for 2 Grammys coming up this year in New York City.
So wait. He don't sing it.
He don't sing it. He's the one who produced it. He produced it and he arranged it.
Oh, well, that's dope.
Yeah.
Also, he got some heat on his own. He's been dropping music for a little while. And,
nice.
you know, I'm just excited for him. I hope he, scores so he can Grammy flex all over New York City. You know what I mean?
Yo, but he was so humble. Like, we was talking to him, and when you're nominated for a Grammy, that's like a lifetime achievement that someone in this business wants to achieve.
Correct.
And we said, Jay asked him, he said, so are you going to do some Grammy flexing? He said, nah, I'm just humble.
Going to speak with Tunji, we also got together with K Wonder and slid through the Chill Moody event.
That was dope.
He doing something super dope for the culture. He got his whole face on a can of beer, you know what I'm saying? And if anybody know about craft beer, it's hard for minorities to break through and really get shine in that industry. So, that was definitely a win for the culture, you know what I'm saying? I know you a Heineken and Corona kind of dude, which I ain't knocking, but a lot of us like craft beer.
Yeah, you especially, Jay, you pride yourself on.
But what him and Jay was doing, like, I started talking to him, and I said, yo, this Jay Qualified from the show. And Jay directly went into nerdism right there with him. Both of them was nerds at that point, talking about beer. What else? The IPK.
But why he gotta be a nerd though? Why he gotta be a nerd?
None of that stuff you saying is
he's
right.
A beer connoisseur.
So correct me on that.
We talking about IBUs and different stuff like that, ABVs, just common sense stuff when you drink a beer. See,
that's not common sense to a normal, normal person.
No, I mean a lot of people
shots.
A lot of people drink 211 or they drink
211.
Corona.
211.
Yeah, I mean,
where they be at?
I'm from the mud.
They be in North Philly on Lehigh Ave.
Listen, first of all, don't surge the hood. You know what I'm saying? I be from the mud.
They be at Camden. Well, look, the Drop Night Show is definitely moving, and we're so happy to be officially on the Water Ice Radio. We're glad everybody who's tuned in, whether you're watching on live or you're listening with the TuneIn app, we really greatly appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? This show is going to be really interesting and fun because we have
Andria Mayberry,
who
the
is
mother of Yazz the Great, which
Yazz the Greatest, Bryshere,
Great,
and he plays a role on what show?
Empire.
There we go.
Not only that, he played. What was his character on New Edition?
He played Michael Bivins, and he killed that too.
Yeah, talented kid. She's gonna be talking about raising him and his ADHD.
Yeah. It's the Drop Night Show on Water Ice Radio, and that was Post Malone, Feeling Like a Rock Star. That joint go hard though, I'm not even gonna lie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the public been scrutinizing him for a little bit from his comments.
Post Malone love the culture, man, and he put out good records, man. Let that man live.
What he said, he basically, I can't quote what he said, but it went on the lines of him disrespecting hip hop.
How could he disrespect something that he's in? That don't even make
And that's why Rosenberg went on him like that.
Hold on, but you know what? I ain't even gonna get into all that, man. Like, I think a lot of people super sensitive right now. What's real rap, what's not real rap. You know what's real? Getting that bag, taking care of your family. Everything else don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talking about hip hop this, hip hop that. If you miss the old hip hop, then why don't you go to a Raekwon show and support them brothers? No, real talk, like support them brothers. Don't.
I did. I went to the Raekwon show and it gave me life.
But that joint
It gave
was
me
free
life.
though. But it was free though.
But he
So
got
what?
paid by Heineken.
He still got a fat check out of it. You know what I mean?
The long and the short. But since we talk about Caucasian people, I want to talk about
Your man.
my man Trump. Yo,
Jesus,
listen,
spare me with the
his
bullshit.
presidency real quick is like an episode of New York Undercover. Y'all remember that shit?
Yo, his
like,
presidency is like
they really
watching the
snitching on him.
circus every day, all day.
Listen, all his young bulls that he had on the block trapping is turning informant on him.
What did he think though? What did you think? Once the FBI put their paws on you, everybody just cracked like, ugh, like
No,
they just cave in.
And everybody know that Fed conviction rate is like
It's
99%.
99.9%. They don't come after you unless they know they already got something on you.
I'm
Trust
gonna
me,
tell you, they so ill. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna
I
happen.
know from experience.
I'm gonna tell you what I would have
What
did
the
if I was
fuck?
Trump. If I was Trump, I would have been like, look, just eat the case, and I'm gonna pardon you. I got you, dog.
He go look.
They
If he get the pardon
pardon
in people, he's definitely gonna be impeached and thrown out. Cause it's like, okay, he already asked. Remember they said he already asked, can I pardon myself? Can I pardon, my
And they
team?
told him no.
And they said you can, but it's not gonna be a good look. You know what I mean? He could do whatever he wants.
Yo,
He's the highest.
Yo,
he position.
he the same dude that said grab her by the cookie. You think he care about what's a good look or not? He eat well done steaks with ketchup on them. You think he out here looking for a good look? No, he doing his thing. He building wealth for his family.
And his people, his constituents.
So you still respect him because he's...
Oh, I never respected him, you know what I'm saying? And I don't respect the office of president either. Like, I really don't care about the whole situation. I just find it to be good TV, and it's a historical time we in watching
This has been the most entertaining presidency of my lifetime. You know what I mean? Like,
Yo, you know what's real entertaining?
What?
He about to raise everybody's taxes.
About
Listen,
to.
let me break this down.
Break it down real quick.
Y'all remember last year when I was telling y'all, like, yo, if you got a little piece of money, you should save it. Go ahead, grab some property. Everybody was like, ah, Jay, you don't know what you're talking about. So moving forward, by the year 2019, I know it sounds far away, but it's not. If you make less than $75,000 a year, your taxes is going up to the tune of $7,500. If you make less than $10,000 a year, they pretty much gonna take all your darn money. So y'all better start getting y'all Cash App hustle on. Y'all better figure something out because they coming for y'all. And at y'all expense, they gave corporations a tax cut from 35% to 20%.
So start a business.
So
Everyone should have their own LLC or some type of independence, so you could get that and operate off of the business license instead of your personal. Get a E&I number, get all that popping. You know what I'm saying?
This is your man Sean Beasley, and we have our special guest in the building. But before that, we just got finished listening to Yo Gotti Juice. We got the juice. We got the juice. Andria Mayberry, she got the juice. J-U-I-C-E, she got the juice.
oh shit, he's spelling stuff. Oh my god, we was about to get lit.
Yo, we got Miss Berry in the building. It's smelling all good.
Thank
looking
you.
all good.
Thank you.
So let's start this off. So tell us about Before Empire. This is a book that you just released and that you're promoting.
Yes, Before Empire, Raising Bryshere, Yazz the Greatest Gray, as a single mom. In the book, I also speak about the domestic violence I went through. And I wrote about it in my book, and I made it as graphic as I did because I wanted parents, male or female, wherever you're going through domestic violence. I wrote about it because I wanted moms and dads to know that you don't have to be in a relationship and stay in it if you're being abused. That's just something that I'm strong and I feel very strongly about because I was a young single mom and I did feel like a failure because I already had one child out of wedlock, and here I am was having a second child because I was carrying Bryshere when his father beat me. And actually my front tooth is fake because he knocked it out. So it's real graphic in the book. If you get the book Before Empire, you'll read about all of that. And then I also talk about me as a woman in the industry, as a manager, keeping my morals and integrity. And also, I know there's a lot of things going on with the sexual harassment and stuff, but I talk about that in my book as well. And then again, I also talk about Bryshere's ADHD and how I educate myself and and trying to teach other people how to treat him and help them to understand that he wasn't just a bad child. There were some challenges there, and he was diagnosed by law, with ADHD. He wasn't just showing off or being spoiled. There were things he needed help with.
Right.
So I write about it because I want parents to be better advocates for their children.
So what we want to do, we want to touch on a couple topics that you have written in that book: domestic violence, the ADHD, and being a female in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start with being a female in this industry. What have you noticed being a female in this industry? What are some of the bad things that you've seen, and some of the bad things that had came across your way?
Well, so I've seen a lot of things. For one, I wasn't respected at first because, for one, I was Bryshere's mother, and I was a woman and a manager. So because I was his mom, people, because I was speaking for him, I was his manager, they would automatically assume that I would just, love whatever he did. And which people didn't know my background, that I managed a group called Chemo, which they grew up under the roots of Black Lily. They had songs with music, and Erykah Badu did little, snippets on their tracks. And I was just really in the background, so people really don't know my managerial skills. So when Bryshere came about, I started to manage him. But what I noticed was when I was trying to get him on certain things, they was like, oh, you just think, that he's going to be a star. And I kept telling people, he's going to be a star. I was getting on people's nerves, but because I was his mom, they was looking at me as just a stage mom, or that you're just his mom. The other thing was that I would get people, like men, come up to me and say, well, I'll do this for you if you, let me take you out on a date. Or I get men trying to, feel on me and things of that nature. But because of my strong personality, I didn't care if Bryshere wasn't going to get on another show. I had to let them know from the door that I'm not tolerating it. I'm very smart and intelligent, and I know where I got the other group, who Missy Elliott was great sign. So I know where I got the other group based on intelligence. I don't have to do those things. And the way I was raised different. I'm a different breed. I'm a different breed, and so when I speak, I also speak about women keeping your morals and integrity no matter what, and just educate yourself. If you educate yourself on whatever it is you're trying to do, then your intelligence alone will make people respect you and let them see that you know what you're talking about. Because the one thing they didn't do was play with me when it came to Bryshere or the other group. They would not talk to him without talking to me first. They know, oh no, you can't talk to him because Miss Berry is going to have a problem. So I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of women experience that and didn't know how to handle that. And I see now that, I'm so happy that women are stepping out and talking about it more. But I also wrote about an incident that happened to me as well. And once again, I nipped it in the bud. So once I spoke about things, and people sometimes joke and say that, they really didn't. After a while, they stopped looking at me as just a female because, they said sometimes I act like a dude. But, I had to sometimes because,
yes, you're in that dominating industry.
Maintain, demand my respect and let people know that, yes, I didn't always look at myself as being attractive, but some people do. And yes, I am a little, hippie, but that don't mean that you have the right to touch me or disrespect me or think that I'm going to sell my son or sell my soul to the devil just for my son.
Okay.
No, I'm very intelligent. I know what I'm doing. I'm good at what I do, and I wasn't doing that.
Right.
So
I know in particular in this industry, there are a lot of people will try. You know what I mean? Just to see how far they can get. And when they come across an alpha female such as yourself, who's handling her own, they gotta, let me get my stuff together. I can't, so that's dope. I wanted to talk about the topic of the domestic violence. I know you do several speaking engagements. I myself at a young age experienced that, and I remember, just being feeling so alone, and not knowing who I could talk to about it. I really didn't come out and start talking about it until like several years later. Like my close friends knew about it, but I wasn't comfortable to the point where I could talk about it because, like you said, you felt like a disappointment and all of that stuff. And on top of that, I just really didn't know how, you know, to communicate, you know, someone just really tearing me apart, you know,
Right.
or trying to, what have you. So how do you, or what do you express to young girls or women who have maybe going through that situation or did go through a situation like that? What was your breakthrough part for you, or how'd you get over it?
So my breakthrough part for me was, for one, was my children. Even though I was 7 months pregnant when I went through it, but I had a 1.5-year-old, which is my daughter, that I had to go home to. But I kind of sensed something wasn't right because, you know, when you're young, you get into these relationships that you so-called call relationships, and sometimes we get pregnant by the person that you're dealing with, and you're young and it's fast, you know. And so with that, I just, because it happened so fast, and I didn't have my daughter, I never had my daughter really around him.
Okay.
So I was the type of parent that would go to work, take care of my daughter, and get her ready for bed, because at the time I was living with my parents. So I would go home, get her ready for bed, put her down at 8 o'clock, and then I would go there because he didn't live too far from me. And then I would leave there by 4 or 5 in the morning so I can be home when my daughter got up.
Okay.
So she didn't see none of that, because had I was bring her there, she would have experienced that.
Right.
So, but I kind of sensed it, but I still wasn't sure because he never showed any signs of that to me. But I've heard it. I was hearing about it in the streets. But when you're young and you're dumb, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. But when it really did, took one time for me, and I was so disfigured that I didn't come home that morning because I didn't want my daughter to see my face. I was embarrassed, and my mom, and I didn't want my brothers, my street brothers, and my brothers to do anything to the father of my child. Although I was disfigured, I just laid there, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And all I can remember is just being embarrassed as a mom, and just thinking about what I need to do to protect my child. If he did this to me, then if my child did something, then he could snap. So I was thinking about all that. So once my mom came and got me and I got out the house, I didn't never go back to him, but I did want him to be a part of his child's life with supervision. It just didn't work out that way. I had to cut it off completely because I was fearful, if I have to work or, and knowing that Bryshere's ADHD, how that was progressing, it just wasn't a safe situation. So I had to just nip that in the bud and do what was best for my child.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Speaking of the ADHD, and you raising a young black man, and how this culture, this society, and this country throw young black men away without a second thought, whether, if a kid of a different race has Asperger's or ADHD, there's all kinds of coddling and understanding. But, if a young black man or a young black boy has those same issues, they want to suspend him from school and charge him as an adult. Him having, that situation growing up. How did you protect him from this vicious world we live? Because obviously he's a success. He's a major success, and he's doing it for the city, which is amazing. How did you protect him and be able to navigate all of that stuff and get him where he is today?
Wow. So it's so much to that. It's so much to that because, for one, where I'm at with God now, I wasn't where I was before. I was always struggling, trying to get where I need to be. And I'm still not there. I'm trying to get there, but I always had faith, and I always retract back to God. And that was number one. Number two was just knowing what the world was, because I was a street runner. Even though I worked and took care of my kids, once I got them down, I was out with my girls at the clubs, everything. I talk about all that in my book. But for me, being afraid that he was going to either get murdered or he was going to go to jail, I tried to create a structure around him that when I had to work 16 hours a day, I would get a daycare provider. After school, before school, all the way up until 17 or 18. When I move, you move. So even with my daughter, so if, say for instance, I would after school, I would have somebody come to my house and sit down with them, or take them down to my mom. So it was like a hand-off hand exchange. And then when he did break away from that, then I had to cut down my hours. It would be times where, you know, we was in fear for some things being cut off, because I had to be there to make sure that he was straight. And it's just the decisions that you make as a parent, even me being young and not knowing and educating myself on certain things. And I just had to make sure that he was straight, because at the end of the day, it's on me, it's not on him. I'm the parent, so I hope I answered your question, because it's so much more. It's so much more to that, because kids break out of your support system.
Yes.
That's how he got. That's how he got into the rapping, because he was playing football. He got hurt, broke his arm in 2 places. I was there, and he had to get major surgery, and it was like a 6-month transitioning for his recovery. And so a child with ADHD, they ain't gonna sit around.
Right.
So he had to stay home for a lot, like 3 months of that. And so that's how he started rapping. He was around the house, he ain't had nothing to do. But he was I'm not gonna say gangster rapper, he was explicit. it was, because I don't want to say that, but he was just cussing and everything, because he was young, trying to see what he wanted to do. So I wasn't paying him no mind. You ain't getting nowhere near none of my connects. Not with that type, So, so what I did was, I said, okay, he wanted to be a rapper. Let me just watch for a little bit. Let me see what he gonna do. So while I'm at work, this boy is sneaking down to the studio. Now he's supposed to be at home. At this time, it's him and his sister, because she's older. She's 2 years older. He's supposed to be home, but he's sneaking to the studio. Now he was doing this for months. He met the guy at my job, because I used to make them do volunteer work at my job. They had to work the city job, and then after that, they go come to my job. So they had 2 jobs.
Ghetto city
This was in the summer, right? So the guy he's like a brother to me. He called me. He said, "You know what? I know how crazy you are, and I know how you is about your kids, but I haven't seen you down at the studio with your son." I said, "What?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Oh yeah, he's been coming there. Mind you, this is all the way down Southwest Philly."
Oh wow.
And we was in Overbrook.
Right.
So I'm like, "Excuse me?" So he said, "Oh yeah, he's down here every night, and you gotta hear him." At this time, I'm flipping. I'm ready to kill him. He said, "Andrea, please just chill. Just listen to this one song." And the one song I heard wasn't that bad, like with the cussing, but it was good. So I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "So from this point on, I will be managing him." He was like, "What? I did all this work?" I said, "You can be the producer. We're gonna talk about something." So then I allowed him to co-manage with me for a little bit. It didn't work out. He had to stay the producer, because I was like, he can't do this type of music, because if he don't want me in the studio, because I'm a hands-on manager, like I want to be in the studio. That's just how I am with my artists. So Bryshere didn't never want me to be in the studio. He kept saying, "Mom, can you step out?" I was like, "Okay, I hate to step out. All right, step out." But when he got home, I said, "Listen, you can't be calling me mom in this industry." So he came up with Miss Berry.
Ah.
So that's how he came up. He said, "I'm just gonna slash your whole name. This is what I'm gonna call you." So I was like, "All right." So so from that point on, I just said, "You know what?" I talked to the producer. I said, "You know what? This is not right. This is not right. He can't be cussing. I don't like the N word. I don't like the B word. I'm a female. Like this. If he don't want me in there, it ain't right." So we're gonna have to figure something else out. So it took us like almost like 6 months to a year to like really get him on point. So I started bringing like other people, other males around, and so they can talk to him, get in his ear, because he's young and they can get in his ear and stuff like that. So, and that's how we got him to leave some of that stuff out. And then it got to the point where Cosmic Kev, he did a song. It was like an old school beat off of Biggie. And Cosmic Kev was in love with it. He was playing his music, and Kev was like, "See, you don't always have to be cussing," because it was straight clean. And then Cosmic Kev kept asking for music, but he only wanted the clean stuff. So that was his motivation to say, like, I can really do this without having to cuss. And then when we would perform and do shows, our shows was clean, and people was paying him to do Sweet 16s, and that gave him more motivation. But I had to keep putting positive influences around him to show him that you don't have to cuss. Even when he was doing the ciphers,
right,
all the time. They would be looking at him like, "What he about to do?"
Right.
And until he starts spitting, and half the time he ain't had no cuss words in it.
Wow.
So it's all about structure and putting good people around, around the artist. So
Yeah.
That's dope. I mean,
yeah.
a lot of the times I think about it like having, family members deal with those same, kind of situations. And like I was a big person like, yo, he not taking this medicine. Like,
Okay.
I don't believe in the medicine. If you vibrant, having a good time, and then I give you this pill, and then you just like, I want to go to bed. That's not fixing the
But
situation.
that's not it. See, people have a misconception. That's why I said you have to educate yourself. So say if your child gets diagnosed with autism or ADHD, the first thing you need to do is educate yourself on everything. And I'm going to give you an example because I was the mom that was like, shh, not my child. He was under 5. How can you diagnose a child under 5 with ADHD? They go through terrible twos. So it took me till he got to 5 when he got in real school. And the teachers was like, listen, I have 28 kids, 33 kids in the classroom, but see, I don't like that. When they tell me like, I used to be livid when I heard them say that. Listen, you signed up for this, right?
Right.
So, but that's not the right thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
So what I had to do was I had to look into what the actual, because the counselor that I had to send him to, the therapist, was telling me that this is what he had. Now there's a full diagnosed by law. So something must be going on. And then what they're saying, I see it at home. So I can only imagine with all the other kids. So, what I had to do was, I educated myself on it, and then they wanted to put him on medication. I looked up the Ritalin first, because that's all I knew about. I said, oh no, he's not getting on that, because the heart palpitations kids die from it. So I said, we're going to try something else. So I would tell them, I told them to give me a list of things we can try. I'll look it up and see, what it was going to do. For him, it worked, but the side effects of it is what bothered me the most. A lot of them had side effects. I didn't know about the side effects. I didn't know to look up the side effects at the time. And it would be times where, I would cook as a single mom. I'm cooking spaghetti for 3 days. It's supposed to last for 3 days. And one day I come home and it's gone. So I'm disciplining him because I'm like, yo, what y'all gonna eat for the next 2 days? So I'm pissed. So now I'm disciplining him because he done ate the spaghetti. But it's because some of the medication suppress your appetite for 13 hours. So when he get home, he's a growing boy. He's gonna eat the whole pie.
Everything, right.
Well, not to cut you off, we want to get back to Miss Berry. She's going to finish talking about.
I'm learning so much right now.
Before Empire, and we want to also get into your entrepreneurship that you have,
That's right.
your clothing line,
That's right.
and you being a philanthropist.
You got words today. Oh my gosh, you can tell you showing off. Where you been hanging around talking with clear sentences?
It's very.
You got him together.
Yo, but what we're about to do, we're about to get into Gucci Man. I get the bag and fumble it. I get the bag and tumble it. Hey, turn up Future Amigos on the Drop Night Show on Water Ice Radio.
I don't know.
Listen, we are actually in the middle of a great conversation with Miss Berry, Bryshere Gray's momager, rather. I love that term. And she's given us an in-depth detail about the upbringing of raising, her celebrity son, who you can catch on Empire every Wednesday.
That's good.
Yes. Make sure you guys stay tuned in, and make sure to get her book Before Empire, which is on all
Target, Walmart, online,
on all line, Amazon, all that. Make sure you go and cop a bunch of those
Good holiday
books.
gift.
Very good.
Make sure you buy not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4.
All right, a lot.
Not 5.
A lot.
Not 10.
We get it.
Especially if you got that person that's really just learned how to read since last show.
Yo, they taking the jab at me. They ain't taking the jab at me.
Yeah, so Sean, I know you had another question for Miss Berry. What was that?
That question is, I'm going to stay on the ADHD. Do you think in today's age, is the public school system caught up to knowing how to handle these kids with ADHD?
No, and that's one of the things that I'm working on, because I just feel like, for me, what I've been through with the school system was horrible. But the one, I didn't give up. I didn't give up because I knew that I had to fight for him to be the best Bryshere, Yazz the Greatest great that he can be. And this is why it's important for parents to advocate themselves and listen to your children. They're not always wrong. You know what I'm saying? The children are not always wrong. I know one of the problems that Bryshere had in school was anger management because he couldn't really articulate what was going on inside. So he's being put in a detention room. You know, he's getting in trouble for not wanting to eat at a certain time because he couldn't eat, but he didn't know how to talk about that.
Right.
So it's up to the parents. Don't just put your kids in school and just say, here, you know, it's up to no, you have to be there because you have to educate them. And that I fought for him to be in a smaller classroom. I fought for him to protect his rights. Like now we call it HIPAA. So I was real diligent about, you know, what he hears.
Wow.
You know, because if he coming back telling that the teachers or that he can hear them saying stuff about him, then that was a problem.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's a problem because that creates insecurities. It creates a lot of things in young children.
But look, we're still in an explosive interview with Miss Berry. She is giving the details, honey, and making it very informative at the same time. So before we get back to her, we have Jay Qualified's Why You're Not Qualified segment of the show. Be prepared to laugh your butt off.
It ain't even funny, man, because I'm mad right now.
Oh Lord,
Yo,
I got you
what?
mad.
Listen, man, y'all not qualified to give advice, ever. Ever. The number one reason why you not qualified to give advice, you don't even follow your own advice. You like, yo, dog, you need to strap up. You can't be out here raw dogging. Dog, you got 6 kids. What you mean? Buddy, you need to slow down. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff you want to talk about how people should be doing this and that, man. Before you give me any advice on anything, follow your own advice. The number 2 reason why you not qualified to give me advice, you a flipping idiot. You so stupid. Like, how you gonna, like you so stupid, you thought like a proctologist gave oral exams, like, you dumb, I can't bang with you. You know what I'm saying? So, about, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, you just got stabbed, just put some ice on it. Dog, shut up. You don't know nothing. So if you stupid, don't give me no advice. And the last reason, irrefutably, you're not qualified to give me advice personally if you a train wreck. Yo, like, listen, like, if everything in your life is trash, like, I come over your house is trash, your car is trash, your girl ugly, your son's stupid, like, if everything about you is trash, like, don't offer me no advice, because I'm not arrogant, I'm not successful, I'm on the road to be successful, but you need to slow down. You need to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, you need to get back in the masjid, in the church, something, because you're not qualified. And that's all I got to say, man.
I told you.
Yo, especially when you go over her house and it's dirty. Then she come over your house, she not smelling right.
Why I gotta be her? No. Why do it have to be a her? Why couldn't it be a him?
Yes, it's vice versa.
Vice versa.
No, I'm gonna keep it
You're not qualified if you don't follow your own advice.
Exactly. But you know what's crazy though? You know what's real crazy? Like, everybody always want to give women a hard time. Like, women got situations. I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist. Like, fellas, let me explain something to you. Your woman got pH balances and things you would never even know about. Like, we go run ball, we get in the shower, we're good. Like, they can eat something that they diet can affect.
Y'all have, I'm in the medical field, you have pH balances too.
Very much
because guess what?
Either
if
I
it's
smell
below
like Henny
7,
or not.
you're gonna die. So you got a pH balance. And y'all sweat and stink too when y'all come back from playing football.
But listen.
Or if you're a pescatarian and only eat fish, and that comes through your pores now.
All right, amen.
If you love me enough to know I just finished running Rough House and you want to lay down, God bless you. Because I know I need to get in the shower.
But you gotta take your own advice. You can't be mad at the woman pH if your pH is jacked up. Now, what was that saying he just said?
Right. Why you're not qualified?
You're not qualified.
If you know me, I'm the most qualified, unqualified person to say anything. So, you know what I'm saying? I get to say everything I say with a grain of salt.
Yo, well, let's get back into this interview with Miss Berry.
Oh my God, no, that was fun. Oh.
So tell us, how did you get into designing?
Okay, so it started from my pajama line, which is Cozy Essentials. And it started out because I got tired of going to the bathroom in the winter and being sitting on the toilet, freezing cold and being naked. Just because I had to go to the bathroom. I said, you know what? If I don't like it, you gotta fix it.
Yeah.
You don't like it, fix it. So I fixed the problem. But what happened was I was getting so many orders that I realized that I couldn't just have somebody sewing my stuff. I had to get a manufacturer. So now I'm in a process of looking for a manufacturer. But during that process, the book came along, which was unexpected. Like I kept saying to the Lord, I want to, I want to write a book, but I didn't know that it was going to really happen right then and there. It just came about. So I put that aside to do the book because I had to get it done by a deadline. And then so now I'm back to looking for a manufacturer, and I think I might have found one. So, and because I couldn't do that, I love maxi dresses so much and and jumpers that I decided to, be a buyer for them. So that's what I did. So I know a manufacturer for those. So I do that, and then I have an online boutique called Cozy Essentials, cozyessentials.bigcartel.com. You can find everything there, and then I'm gonna add the pajama wear on top of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sure you don't wear sundresses.
Huh?
You don't wear sundresses.
Who, me? It's
called
I've never seen her with a dress on.
It's called maxi dresses.
You ain't seen a lot of stuff that I did, okay, honey? Okay.
Somebody pass some pretzels or something. I'm that right there. I'm gonna take a snack break.
Real talk.
Yeah.
So how is that going for you? Because I did check them out. They are some nice dresses.
They're going good. They're going good. This is a new project for me, with all the other things, because I still do work a full-time job. I still work 16 hours a day.
So I ask you a question. You have a famous, wealthy son. Why are you still working?
I've been at my job for 16 years.
Okay.
And the benefits is marvelous, darling. The health benefits. So, and not only that, for me is still keeping my independence and doing what I love. I love the medical field. I didn't get a chance to finish to become a RN yet, but I'm going back to do that. Wow. So that's my way of staying in. And not only that, he does do what I need him to do for the most part. He's still young, and I want him to save his money, preserve his money.
Wow,
so,
that's all. She's just awesome, y'all. Give it up for Miss Berry, everybody. Give it up for Miss Berry.
Thank you, Joe.
Amazing.
Thank you, Joe.